Hi, my name is Alborz and I'm from Iran. 10 years ago, I went to Malaysia to study industrial design. And after 5 years graduating university, I moved to Canada. For the first year, I was really struggling to get to know people because moving to Canada, I suddenly didn't have any friends or contacts anymore. I started going to meetups that I found on meetup.com and I started to talk to people and make as many contacts as possible. It was after a few months that one of the people at one of these meetups offered me a design job. It was not paid, it was for free, but it gave me an opportunity to get my foot in the door and really work on projects that I wanted to work on and get some Canadian experience to put on my resume. After 6 months working on that project, we managed to finish it and I presented it to the same meetup where I met the guy. After presenting that project, another company came up to me and offered me a full-time position. I worked there for a year, and after that, a larger company came and offered me a position. So the cycle continued, and now I have a lead UI UX design position at a large startup company in Vancouver. One of the biggest challenges moving to Canada was losing all my personal and professional connections. I basically said goodbye to all my friends when I moved to Canada. In Malaysia, every time I was feeling down, I always had my friends to go to who would help cheer me up. But here, I didn't have that luxury anymore. And not having a job, personally for me, sometimes if I don't work for too long, I feel like I'm wasting my time. And I feel really stuck, like I'm hitting a dead end. In Malaysia, if I had that feeling, I would go to my friends, but here I didn't have that option, and sometimes I would feel stuck and I wouldn't even want to leave the house anymore. Another challenge I had here was not being familiar with the Canadian culture. Canadians are very friendly people and they are very welcoming of all different cultures. And one thing I realized is that the chances of you getting a job from a person that you know is much higher than if they don't know you, but they know that you have really great skills. Skills alone aren't really enough in Canada to make the jump for people to hire someone. It's getting to know that person and having a good time with that person and knowing that they can spend more time around that person. That's a much more valuable factor for people hiring in Canada. And not knowing that initially was also a big challenge for me. So one of the ways I overcome the challenges coming to Canada was joining an organization called Success. Success is one of the many organizations that helps newcomers in Canada help them get on their feet. I attended workshops on the Canadian culture and how to do interviews and what to expect when I'm meeting potential employers in the future. Joining those workshops, it really helped me get a good understanding of what to expect and helped me prepare much better in my job search and gave me a lot more confidence going for the interviews. Whereas before I wasn't really sure what to expect and I felt like I'm going in the dark. I also started going to meetups. I started going to a meetup for developers in Vancouver and meeting people that are like-minded and have the same interests as me was really great and it helped me make a lot of friends. On the other hand, it also helped me make a lot of great connections that professionally would be great in the future. After a few times going to that meeting, I asked the president of the meetup if I could present one of my works for the group. After presenting my work to the group, a developer asked me if I could design an application for him. And even though it was free, it was a really great opportunity for me to get some real Canadian experience that I could add to my resume and my LinkedIn portfolio. After finishing that project, I presented it to the meetup again. But at that meeting, there was someone in the audience that saw my work and was really impressed with it. And he actually offered me a full-time position as a designer in his company. And at no point until then did I use a resume. It wasn't my resume that got me those jobs. It was me being out there connecting with people and showing my work and my skills. My first tip for you is to network, network, and network. Find meetups that are relevant to your industry and what you do. Go out there and talk to people. And don't worry much about your resume. If you go out there and talk to someone and tell them who you are and give them a chance to get to know you and tell them about your skills, that is a lot more valuable than if you hand them your resume. They're going to remember who you are. They're going to remember a face. They're not going to remember a paragraph of the skills you've had in your past 5 jobs. That's not that important here. My second tip for you is to look for meetups that are complementary to what you do. For me, as a designer, I didn't look for other designer meetups. I looked for developer meetups. An example would be, as if you were a chef, you would look for meetups where restaurant owners would attend. Because if you go and meet other chefs, even though it's great, but those are the people who are looking for the same jobs as you are, and there is really high competition. But if you get to know the restaurant owners, the moment a new job opportunity comes up, you would be the first one to know. And if they're looking for a chef, they would remember your name and they would give you a call. My third tip for you is to not be afraid to take jobs that are free or maybe less than what you would be expecting to be paid for. Because in the long run, they will lead to better opportunities and a much better future. My last tip for you is to get out of the house. No matter what, just get out of the house. Find the energy. Don't let anything stop you. Find the energy and get out of the house, because if you stay at home, nothing's going to happen. Remember why you're doing all this. Why did you come to Canada? You came here to make something of your life, and getting out of the house and chasing that dream is going to be what's going to make that happen.